great day to celebrate, and I'm so glad we're together in community. On numerous Sundays, you've heard me express that as we enter the center, Reverend Michael and I always say, I wonder who will be with us today. And it's always a pleasure. It's sort of like a potluck every Sunday. And not only in the fellowship hall, but with the people that come through the door. And there's some of you that I haven't seen for a few weeks. It's always nice to make that connection. And some that I haven't seen for months. And it's nice to make that connection. So there is that energy, there, that essence, that wonderment of love that comes forth as we celebrate today. So what I know for you today is something wonderful is happening, and that something wonderful is our celebration today. So we have this nice community, we have this energy, we've had good music, a wonderful meditation. And now we're going to get to know something. We're going to get to know something. The month of September, we have chosen knowledge as our word of the month, which Reverend Michael alluded to. And all of our lessons this month reflect on knowledge. How we gain it, how we garner it, how we live it, how we express from that base of knowledge that we have within. 2 weeks ago, I shared with you that everything that we needed to know, we already knew. It's within us. I urged each and every one of you to awaken to that wonderful being, that wonderful part of us that holds that memory, that holds that good. And as we hold that good, and as we come true to that good, then we're living and knowing our truth. Knowledge is a fact or a condition of knowing something with familiarity gained through experience. So all of us that are called wisdom warriors, that have lived a while, have had that opportunity to live from that center, to live and express and to be that which we are by our consciousness and our goodness. Living brings to us an experience and the knowledge to further live that life that we have. Playwright Jane Wagner shares this, and this was on my bathroom mirror, and I was waiting for a time to inject it into a lesson, so here goes. All of life, I wanted to be somebody, but I see I should have been more specific. Now, isn't that a truism? We want to be like somebody. How in Sam Thunder can we be anybody but ourselves? We must be our authentic self. There's no need to be like anybody else. For years, and you've heard me mention Dr. Tom Costa, I always thought if I could be like anybody speaking from the dais, would be like Tom. He was authentic, he was charismatic, he was charming, beautifully dressed, had gorgeous ties, and those $400 shoes, which I've yet to get to that point in consciousness. But he always had a message and a love. And he always had that energy that was just such a dynamic ride. He was somebody. He was specific, the way he thought, and the way he lived, and the way he delivered. When we express our clarity with a fullness and a richness of our true spirit, it becomes a priority in the unfoldment of the individual. Reverend Michael, in last week's lesson, which I really enjoyed so much, he exampled to us and urged us to supersize our consciousness. Well, I'm sure for most of us, and I think a supersize, I think the big gulps that are at the 7-Elevens, and I know they're outlawed in New York now because there's too much sugar and you can only have a 16-ounce one. But on the other hand, I thought by thinking a larger, grander, more benevolent way to think is supersizing the consciousness. We accept the gifts in that largeness, in the abundant form that it's given. And when it's given from that center of love. Spirit comes from love, L-O-V-E. And when we come from our love center, there's nothing that can elude that feeling and that gift. Well, today I know K.N.O.W. And that's an acronym for knowledge nudges our wisdom. It moves us. It calls us. It beckons us into the arena of life. And when we allow that to come true, and when we come true to that, we're not only supersizing our consciousness, we're awakening to what we already know, deep within the soul, deep within the soul. We're made aware of that gentle nudge of spirit. It's like someone tapping on the shoulder, tapping on the knee. I might have shared with you some time ago that my father was, being of that German heritage and parenting skill, he never slapped, never hit, was always supportive in his way, never wanted us to cry or show any emotion. Now that's a malfunction for the Italians. We always screaming and hollering and waving our hands. And all of you that know me know that I tend to be rather excited from time to time. I am tempering it as I've gotten more wisdom filled. But what Dad would do, he'd take his finger and hit 3 times on the shoulder or on the knee. That meant, you know, button the lip and shape up. He never ever had to correct us other than that. Never put a hand up on the backside. He just used his index finger 3 times. We knew that native intelligence spoke to us. And I listened. I listened. When that gentle nudge of spirit informs us of our wisdom, there becomes a magnificent being, a magnificent feeling, a good feeling within us. And it allows us to be our authentic self. We know that wisdom is an accumulation of philosophies or scientific learnings. And it delivers to us that which we need, that which we're receptive to. That wherever we are on our journey, we're receiving that energy, we're receiving that passionate state of nature, we're receiving everything that we need at any given time when we turn to it. Individually, wisdom and knowledge and insight and good judgment is the gift that we receive. And we all like presents, and that's a good thing. So when we unfold each day, when we unwrap the presents for the day, when we roll out of bed in the morning, put the feet on the floor, knowing that the leave has kicked in, we're going to walk with ease and grace. We know that it's a good day. It's a good day, a real good day. We're receiving the gifts. And we receive the gifts of the Science of Mind teaching, which is a miracle. A miracle. Never lived on Elm Street, but I know that each and every one of us, that when we live the miracle that we are living the desire of a higher power. Teachers like our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who was certainly a wisdom seeker and a speaker, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Mary Baker Eddy, all of them shared their wisdom so we may have the philosophy that we have today. Oftentimes you've heard, and ever so frequent at Silomar, they'll say, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. And we are. These people paved the way with harmony and balance, lightness and in love, so we can have what we know today as a science of mind. It's a way of life. It's a foundation to live our lives. And Reverend Michael spoke of that in his meditation, that we have that supportive nature of spirit always. There was a time in my life, and it's been quite a while ago, that I thought wisdom was just the way that the elderberries talked. They spoke, they thought and did different things than I thought a young person should do. Well, at that point in time, I thought the wrinkleberries were certainly a funny bunch of people speaking of consciousness and a verbiage that made no sense to me. They talked about the good things. They talked about the qualities of life, the qualities of not only a fundamental teaching, but certainly of a metaphysical teaching. And I thought they lived a rather beige, uncolorful life. That was my thought then. What I know now is that's far from the truth. what I have learned from the people that have preceded me, not only at the lectern, but in my years of taking classes and learning and teaching and accepting and knowing and being involved in the science of mind, that there is so much that we get to open up to, accept, and receive with the joy of spirit. That truth is my truth. For wisdom is a wonderful, welcomed grace that comes to us. It's sort of like a 2x4 slap outside the side of your head. It boinks you. We come true to that. We allow that to be the essence. I like to think of it as, after it hits me in the noggin, that I get the opportunity, I'm called to my senses, to come true to that treasure trove that's within me. I open to it and receive those gifts. Great ways to live life and be in our life. For I know that each and every one of you assembled here today deserve and accept, must accept the very best. Don't take second place ever. If you like a chicken breast on the dinner plate, put one from the platter. If you like a chicken leg, take a chicken leg. If you like a wing, take a wing. Take the best that there is. Spirit has designed us to accept our goodness in every single thing that we do. All of thought is creative. And as we think, process, and as we process, we celebrate and place in consciousness the design by which we live by. We supersize our consciousness. We make it a big boy cup, not a tippy cup, a big boy cup. Our scope becomes grander. For the knowledge nudges our wisdom. We come true to it, and we allow this exciting time to be ours. And we nudge that wisdom into the beingness that it is. Reminds me of a story, and it's just one of our congregants sent it to me, and I did tidy it up a bit for Sunday. But there was this man that had a gorgeous yard, and he loved being in the yard. And so he got his favorite book and his iced beverage and stretched out on his lawn chair and was just going to sink back in. I know it wasn't Sunday because he'd have been in church. But all of a sudden, this little lady who had saved up her money for some time bought herself a bright, shiny new car. And she's driving, just having a great time. She crashes through a hedge that he's seated behind. And he jumps out of the chair, and she is kind of dazed and in one of those ways about herself. And he said, "My goodness," he said, "that was quite a thud you made, quite a landing you made in my yard. Are you okay?" And he said, "Well, you're a wisdom warrior. You're wisdom filled." And she said, "Yes, I am. I know I'm old, but I still drive." She said, "You know, I'm so old that I don't need a license to drive anymore." She said, "You know, the last time I was at the doctor, he asked if I drove. I said, yes, I gave him my license. He took out his scissors and cut it up." And so now, she says, "I'm so old, I just drive wherever I want to be." So I thanked him and I left the office. And so here I am today, driving my new car, wrecking up your yard.